So is there like an official date?
Not yet. We're hopefully gonna get that today, so we'll see how that goes.
And you still like her?
So far, yes.
Good.
I'll give you my address to send it.
Okay.
I'll send you a gift.
All right.
All right, guys, whenever you're ready.
You guys ready?
I guess.
Yay.
My timer ready.
How are you, by the way? We met before, right? Or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You're,
All right, stand by. And here we go. 3, 2, 1.
What the? Why is that?
what?
Ready? Here we go.
Is it that kind of show?
All right, here we go.
Hold on, Jesse, can you adjust your mic? Pull it to your left. All right, and then twist it. There you go, so you can see your face.
Like this?
Yep.
Ready?
We go in 3, 2, 1.
And welcome to the show. It's another edition of Behind the Law right here on ESPN 580 Orlando. My name is Justin Clark. Thank you for spending your weeknights and weekends here with us on our favorite sports radio station, ESPN 580 Orlando. To my left, AlliMac. Hello, AlliMac. How was your birthday?
It was good, thank you.
Now, we haven't told our television audience this yet, but you also lost a dog.
Yeah, I did on Tuesday.
Are you
so.
feeling better? I mean, how do you overcome that? How do you get over that?
It's still really it just recently happened, so I'm still trying to grieve. I'm still in my grieving process. So celebrating my birthday was a little bit tough because I didn't know whether I should celebrate or I shouldn't. I kind of felt some kind of way, but we'll get better.
321-282-1055 for any questions that you may have. You can also go to the website youhavepower.com. We're going to talk a lot about student loans today. A very hot button issue, as you know. I mean, how many people come up to you and say, I've got my student loan problem. I don't know what to do about it. It's a huge issue in America, and really it's the next big financial calamity that's going. I promise you, student loans are going to be a huge issue as we go forward in this country, and we got to figure something out. The government hasn't figured out how to deal with them.
No.
They just have not. And people come in my office all the time, every day, with student loan problems, and they say, I don't know what to do. It's ruining lives. Because here's what really happened at the end of the day. You know, most of the people that come in my office with student loan issues, they didn't go to FSU. They didn't go to Harvard. It's the people who went to these for-profit institutions, right? And the college would be like, yeah, come here, and we almost can promise you you're going to get a job for $100,000 as soon as you get out of here. You know, it's going to be $50,000 a year. It's an expensive school. And then when they got out of school, you know what they're doing? They're waiting tables. Or they're working for $10 an hour doing what they did not go to school for. It's a huge problem. In a lot of ways, I think we almost should go back to the age where we taught trades, as opposed to having to go to some dumb college. Because we all have in our head that, well, I got to get a college degree, right? Because we've been trained that. We've been taught that since we were very young. And I don't think that's the right answer. I really don't. The right answer to me is for someone who's not going to go to Harvard or to one of these regular colleges, as opposed to going to one of these, and I'll say it, crap schools that are charging you $50,000 a year for a $10 an hour job.
Right.
Maybe it's better to go learn a trade.
Yeah.
And then we don't have student loan debt. The difference, AlliMac, from you going to Macy's and spending $10,000 on your husband's Amex card, right? If you owe Amex $10,000, no big deal. Look, you could file bankruptcy and wipe out that debt. You could call Amex and say, Amex, I don't have a lot of money. Here's $3,000, right? With student loans, it doesn't work that way. Student loans don't even have to sue you. Student loans are at times more powerful even than the IRS. All they have to do is send you a letter, and next thing you know, you're not getting your full paycheck. They garnish your wages without having to sue you.
But they notify you either way, right?
Via just one quick letter.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you this question. Let's say that you're on Social Security, AlliMac. That's all you get, right? So you're getting your $1,200, $1,300 a month Social Security. But you went to dumb school number 1 30 years ago, and you still owe them $30,000. Do you think they can garnish your Social Security check or no?
I would think they probably can.
Absolutely. So they can actually garnish your Social Security.
Years later.
It is absolutely unbelievable, right? But there are many things that you can do about it. There are so many things that you can do to help you on the student loan issue. Number one, have you ever heard of an income-based repayment program or no?
I haven't.
So IBR. So what we need to do, we need to get out in front of these things so they're not taking your paycheck, so they're not taking your Social Security, so they're not garnishing your bank account. They're not taking your tax refund. People come in my office all the time about, February 15th after they file their taxes. They're like, oh, I can't wait. We're going to go on a vacation with our tax refund this year. And then I'm like, well, where is it? We're just still waiting on it. And they come back 2 weeks later, oh, we're still waiting on it. I'm like, no, it's not coming. The government has taken your tax refund because you owe money to your student loans. It's gone.
So how long does a student have to wait, or at what point do they come and speak to you if they have student loans that they just can't pay for anymore?
I mean, you need to come immediately. It's not one of those issues that you can bury your head in the sand. You have to get out in front of it because it happens quickly. They start taking your stuff very quickly. They start taking your money incredibly quickly. So, and again, it's a free consultation to come into my office. So it's not like you got to pay to come in. So you might as well come in, because there are a lot of times where I would say, well, you can just do this, this, this. You don't even have to pay me. And I'll tell you exactly what to do. But there are also a lot of times where we can do something that's very, very important, critical almost to your financial health, and we can get out in advance of them garnishing your wages. It's embarrassing too.
It is.
Your employer comes to you and says, Justin, by the way, you're not going to get your whole paycheck today because I guess you haven't paid your student loans. You know what I mean? It's embarrassing.
It is.
Not only are you losing money, it's embarrassing. And employers don't like that. Employers don't like to be involved in the whole garnishing of wages and child support and that sort of thing. They just don't.
But what if I'm one of those people that are already in the process that the government is, or the student, the repayment has already started garnishing my wages? Do I still have the option to come to you?
Absolutely. It's a very good question. And there are generally two questions that come up when that happens. Right? Well, number one is how do I stop this? And number two is how do I just fix the problem in general? So when they're already if student loan companies are already garnishing your wages, you want to enter into what's called a rehab program. But the problem with the rehab program is they're going to want to see you make a payment for 5 months and continue the garnishment. And then after 5 months, they'll say, okay, you're now rehabbed. But if you file a bankruptcy, it automatically stops the wage deductions and any sort of collection activity. So it's really a tough decision at that point, but there are options. So it just depends. It really totally depends. But we're going to try to get you back on an income-based repayment program. An income-based repayment program should be very low. It should be a very small amount per month, right? And that's kind of my job, is to make the payment as low as we can. And now it's showing up on your credit as current, so it looks like that you're actually paying it. But again, it's tough. It's very tough because most people going through the student loan issues, again, went to a bad school. So they're not making a lot of money, right? So because we went to this terrible school, we're making 10, 15 bucks an hour. When you're garnishing 25% of that, this is a big hit. I mean, we have to pay rent. We got to go pay the mortgage. We have a family. Taking 25% of my disposable income is a huge hit.
Right.
Right?
Definitely.
And student loans, again, have almost more power than the United States government. They really, really do. It's crazy. When someone comes in and says, oh, I owe $100,000 to the IRS, or someone comes in and says, I owe $100,000 to my student loan, I would prefer you owe $100,000 to the IRS. Really.
It's much easier.
It's easier to deal with than these student loan companies. And this is a relatively new issue that's popping up. But I guarantee, as I look around the room right now, right, our producers and production team here, relatively young people who all probably went to a college, I guarantee you, every month they're either paying student loans or they're in a fight with their student loan companies. It's a huge issue nationally. And politicians, I think, is starting to get on their radar a little bit because it's really affecting lives negatively. But the one thing that I know that you can do if you have a student loan issue, you almost must. Call us, 321-282-1055. Let's get you in the office and let me review what's really going on so I can really see what's going on. AlliMac, there are times where someone comes in and they're getting sued by their private student loans. And I'm like, that was from like 30 years ago. Have you been paying them lately? Or they're like, no, I just, all of a sudden I just got sued. Well, we can defend that case. We could probably win that case because there is a little thing called a statute of limitations, you know? Unless you murder someone, you can't just like come after someone 30 years later, right? In Florida, the statute of limitations is 5 years. So you breached that contract 30 years ago, and now they're suing you 30 years later,
Wow.
right? So there are things that we can defend as well. So before you just start, and real quick, if you do pay them, even if they, let's say they call and say, well, hey, we're going to take it off your credit report if you just give us like $3 a month. That first $3 that you pay restarts the statute of limitations.
Oh, man.
So that's what they call and they act like Mr. Nice Guy. Like, hey, just give us $3, and then we're all going to be friends again. Well, what they're doing is they're trying to restart the statute of limitations. If you have student loan issues, you're going to want to stick around. Plenty more ahead. It's Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando. Mm-mm.
Just keep going.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I forgot what camera is what. What am I looking at?
This is the audience camera.
Okay.
That's your direct camera. If you want to really want to get deep,
Okay.
go to that
If you want,
camera. If you really want to get into their faces,
Yeah.
that's that camera.
if you want to schedule an appointment,
Yeah,
give
exactly.
them your cell phone.
Don't be a dumbass.
Yeah.
That's the camera.
That's the don't be an
Call
idiot
me.
camera.
Right. Chase, whenever you're ready.
All right. Just finishing up this file and make sure it's saved. Blah, blah, blah.
Did you text me last night?
Hmm?
Did you text me last night? Okay, I gotta show you something.
All right, we ready? All right. Let's go with this. All right. Here we go. In 3, 2.
Ooh, I like it.
It's nice having a DJ around today. I don't have to do it myself like normal when we're doing the show from my office. 321-282-1055. YouHavePower.com. Thank you for spending your weeknights and weekends here with us. Don't forget to watch the TV show as well every Sunday. Thank you for coming in and spending time with us, 10 a.m. on our favorite radio station, TV 27. AlliMac, I want to talk about you for a moment, if you don't mind.
Yes.
First of all, happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Are you feeling older, younger?
No,
What do you feel?
My husband asked me that question the following day,
Mhm.
and I don't feel different. I just don't.
A good
Am
deal.
I supposed to?
I don't think so, but we have a lot of business owners that are clients of mine and watch the program, and a lot of times they come up to me and they say, I don't know exactly how to really get my business going, but I know I don't have $20,000 a month to do radio spots or TV spots, right? But I see all this social media. I see everyone's like advertising on social media, and I'm really trying to grow my business. Again, I don't have 30 grand, but maybe I have 2, maybe I have 3 to really invest in advertising social media wise. What do you say?
Oh, I say definitely. Social media is the way to go. I mean, if you don't have that that budget for radio and TV, definitely social media is something that can be very advantageous to your business, being featured on all different platforms, being featured in your community, and branding yourself on digital marketing. I mean, in digital media, you can speak to your potential clients that way. You can, get your platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on all the different platforms there are, and kind of start your branding that way, and speak to your potential clients, inform them of different services that you offer, and just be more of an informative company within your community with the hope, with the ultimate goal of making them your clients.
Okay, fine. So let's say I have a Facebook account, Justin Clark Facebook, whatever it is, right? But then I also have a business, Justin Clark Roofing Company. Should I have 2 completely separate accounts for this, or should it be one? Do I put pictures of my little 6-year-old on my business account? How does it really work?
Well, I think that a business account and a personal account, you can't help but kind of morph the two. People are always going to want to know about the business owner, want to know about the person that they're doing business with. So yes, they're going to look at you as a company, but they're also going to look at you as an individual. So whatever you post on your platforms is, of course, has to be business related, but also you want to humanize your platform too, so people can relate to you in a way. If you're a father, if you're an athlete, if you're, do a golfer, just different things like that. So I think that, you can't get away as a business owner to have all these platforms and just keep one of them private, personal, because people want to know who you are if they're going to do business with you.
321-282-1055. YouHavePower.com. It's Behind the Law. ESPN 580 Orlando. AlliMac. Fine. Okay. Social media. Right? Yeah. Okay. So I can really advertise on social media and really help grow my business. But there's a lot of avenues of social media as well. I've got Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn. There's 100 of them now.
Yeah.
Where should I really focus my time and energy?
Well, for branding, it's Facebook and Instagram. That's for your branding. That's to inform your community of who you are. So they develop more of a familiar relationship, where they develop a relationship with you, and they develop trust with you. Instagram is also, I'm sorry, not Instagram. LinkedIn is a place where a lot of people are starting to do a lot of business. I believe it started back in 2017. That's where you saw the most growth in business owners posting and speaking with other businesses and just other people and starting to do business back and forth. There is the Snapchat, and there are there's different I don't know if you've heard of Marco Polo. There's just Twitter.
Yeah, I used to play in the pool when I was 5.
Well, it is a form of social media, but it's good for you as a business to be on all these platforms, because the millennials now, that's how they get their news. That's how you get their news. That's how they look up, what attorney am I going to go visit? The Google reviews. What doctor am I going to go see? The hair appointment. So different things like that. So you want to be on all different platforms, and you want to be on the platforms displaying your business and services always, but also displaying who you are as a business owner, as a person, because that's how people tend to do business with others. They want to do business with a person and not a business.
So they really do want to get to know you, and you should be somewhat personal in your business posts, I guess, right? Personal
to a point where they get to know you as the boss that you are, the dad that you are, but other things that you do on that, you don't want to get too personal on your pages. You don't want to take pictures on your trip to Cancun, Mexico, or anything like that. But yes, you do want to portray a little bit more. You want to bring a little bit more of, if you are into like yoga, if you like, Reiki, if you like, you want to show that, because
Reiki?
A lot of Reiki. So
what is it? I honestly have no idea what that is.
It's a modality where it goes by, and I know people are going to correct me, but I don't know if it's just the energy that our bodies give out, and it's really good. I don't want to go into because I don't want to mess exactly what it is, but
have you guys ever heard of that? I mean, is it just me? I'm the only one. Okay, good.
You don't touch the person. It's just based on our own body's like energy.
Okay.
So I've done it, and it's very it's meditative, and
right.
So if that's something that you do, of course, display that on your social media. People tend to gravitate towards, wow, that's really cool. That's really interesting that you do that, because I also do that too. I mean,
I have no idea. I'm confused, and I have so many more follow-up questions, but I think I also just want to pass over it too. You know what I mean? But anyway,
sounds good.
When it does come to social media, I think there's this huge dichotomy between let's get really aggressive with it and really use this as an advertising platform and hire a professional company to do it for us, versus do I just hire my 16-year-old daughter who's really good on Twitter to handle the social media for my business ideas?
Okay, so a lot of some business owners start off with their one of their family members posting every now and then on their pages. But what you have to realize is there's a specific method to every platform, and as a business owner, you wanna also have consistency. When you have a family member do it, it's not going to be consistent. It's not going to be anything that it's more going to be like a pastime. They're not really they don't really have the knowledge on the algorithms that should be, that on the times that it should be posted. So when you hire a company like me, it's more of we help you build your platform based on your client profile. that you should have, and then we also do content according to what your services are, and not just content telling people to come to your business, purchase from me, make me your attorney. It's more of a also giving them back, interacting with your potential clients. So when you're more than apt to want to do business with a live site, meaning a live site that they have engagements, they comment, that they, with that potential client, than a site that just posts and then you don't see another post for another 2 or 3 weeks, but I left a comment and nobody is there to help me. So it's like your storefront. So somebody should always be present there to greet your potential clients.
If I start advertising on social media, how quickly should I expect a response? Meaning, how quickly am I going to get clients/customers?
Okay, so there is a system, and I have these this kind of model. It gives you a base what happens between the first and third month, all the way to the 18th month. So for the first 3 months, SEO doesn't even realize you're there. Nothing. Unless you have an SEO person and all that. So you need to populate, at least for the first 3 months, with as much content as possible, using your hashtags, being very engaging with your potential clients, and all that. So whenever, after the 3 months, and that's when it populates, and that's when you're going to see a little bit more traffic, maybe a couple of calls to your office line, maybe to your website. But because your site has been inactive, it's going to take at least 3 months in order to build up that algorithm and build up all those followers and engagements.
If you have any questions about social media and really want to grow your business via social media, reach out right now to Allie McCarroll. AlliMac, how do we find you?
I'm at 407-242-2626, and also my website is AlliMacConsulting.com.
AlliMac. All right, we have plenty more to discuss right on the other side of this break. We're going to take you through IRS problems because, we are kind of sitting here in tax season right now, and when you get that letter from the IRS saying that you owe them money, you think in your head, oh my gosh, they're going to come take all of my money, or am I going to go to jail? All right on the other side of this break. It's Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando.
I talk with my hands.
Huh?
I'm a hand talker. Thought I was doing sign language for a minute. Just like,
Let's cut them so you can have that. Safe.
Safe.
that's good.
Good job.
Yeah, cheers.
That makes me nervous when someone goes up to me.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, oh my goodness.
How's business?
Non-stop.
Yeah?
Non-stop.
Mostly like commercial stuff?
Yeah,
And
just, a lot of healthcare.
oh, really?
Advent Health is everywhere.
This is like the first week we were just editing.
Yeah, just editing this week.
Yeah.
No shit. A lot of healthcare. Field trips. Automotive.
Yeah.
Selling cars.
You guys don't do the other paid stuff for the one that has all the paid stuff on the weekends? The car dealer?
Those long ones, no, we don't do those. So
Okay.
I try to avoid those.
Yeah.
So bad.
That would almost be a full-time job.
Yeah, seriously.
Is the one where like the two people are standing in front of the car?
There's a
and one's
few.
like,
There's
God.
one that goes like, "Thank you." There's quite a few of those.
I mean, I'm ready whenever you
I'm ready.
Alright, let's roll.
go.
Yeah, cheers when we're ready.
Here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome back to the show. It's Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando. Thank you for spending your weeknights and weekends here with us on our favorite sports radio station. To my left, it's AlliMac. Hello, AlliMac. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Happy belated birthday now at this point.
Thank you. I feel like so many birthday wishes. I feel like I'm in my 60s now.
Did I tell you that I'm turning 40 earlier or later this year?
Stop.
How should I? No, I'm serious, and I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know if I should feel bad or because I still feel like a kid in a lot of ways too. You know what I mean? But 40, you really start to think I'm kind of an adult.
Really? So
That's-
what What do you say about me? I'm 42.
I mean, older than me. I don't know. So, I don't know.
Age
I'm
is
afraid to
nothing
say
but a
anything.
number.
Yeah. I don't really want to comment on this right now.
Okay.
I feel like I'm going to get in trouble somehow, some way, you know?
42. I look good for 42. That's
Chase,
what I'm saying.
Chase Bunker is here as well. Chase, we haven't seen you in a while, man. How you been?
I've been well. How about yourself?
So you were spending a lot of time here in the studio. What are you doing these
I've
days?
just been working a lot.
Really?
Mostly, yeah. Mostly
And
here.
I
Doesn't
also
Chase look
heard.
very engaged
You mean in the show or in life?
in life.
Yeah, and he looks very disengaged with the show,
Oh,
but super
he looks
engaged.
engaged.
But super.
My bosses might be listening. I'm very engaged with this show.
Yeah, no, you're engaged to a young lady who, you know, I
Yes.
heard you're doing some wedding planning. That's great. But
Yes, it is. Wedding planning is a pain, especially since all the vendors here are the quote Orlando's premier wedding destination.
where do you think you're going to do it? Do you know?
I have no idea.
And so let me ask you this question. This is an important one.
Okay.
Who is sort of stepping up and taking control of the wedding planning? Would you say you or your beautiful fiance?
I would say we're equal, but as of right now, like the past few days, it's been me.
Why?
Oh.
I just feel like,
Very
why?
cool,
Like,
Chase.
why don't you just say, look, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. Can we just, like, go to the Waffle House and get married?
Well, just
What's
because
the
I'm from
Waffle
Melbourne
House?
doesn't mean we all automatically get married at the Waffle House.
Oh,
It's one of those that
seriously?
no, as much as it's our rite of passage.
Mm.
I know a whole bunch of Melbourne people are going to be so angry at me for
Well,
saying that.
Well, AlliMac's actually a Melbourne person as well. So.
I was born in Melbourne, so I can say that. I can get away with it. Go Pirates. So I just wanted to stay ahead of the curve,
Mm.
and so we didn't want this to be like a 5-year engagement. We just want to go, all right, we're engaged. Let's have a wedding in a year, maybe a year and a half, and just get this over with.
When did you start dating? How long ago?
4 years ago.
So, okay.
Oh, wow.
What were you, like 8? How old?
No,
how
she
old
was
were you?
8. No,
She was
um,
8.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Kidding.
yes.
I'm just
for,
kidding.
for the cops listening, yeah, it's a joke.
Just kidding.
If you're an FBI agent, she was actually 18.
Yes. I'm incriminating myself so much.
I
in this
know. You might
episode.
get fired and go to jail
I
all from this one
might.
program today.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
No,
you.
but I am very interested in this. So seriously, what you guys say? Oh, I'm so happy. I want to get married. Like, do you write down a list of who's doing what? Like, who? Oh, you're dealing with the flowers. You're dealing with the venue. How does this work?
Well, it's hard to say, mainly just because we haven't gotten that far yet, which I'm not looking forward to, because we are literally the two most indecisive people ever. So it's gonna be hard to select, the quote unquote napkin patterns and all that. So right now we're just starting with the basics: catering and the venue, and then from there on, I'm hoping to push this on to my mother,
Mhm.
who has this
Aw.
wedding SWAT team.
Okay, good.
Where her and her group of friends literally they just planned my sister's wedding and they just handled everything. They're amazing, and so
I think
hope
that's
to
a
do
good
that
idea.
so I don't have to deal with the stress. 'Cause I'm already riddled with anxiety as it is.
Yeah, my advice would be, I think it's weird when someone gets like so invested in the wedding planning, especially being a dude. I would just like chill. I would try to push it off on someone else. if
Well,
I were
the
you.
crazier thing
That's
about
my
all
advice.
this, the crazier thing about all of this
I
is
don't. That's not good advice, Chase. No.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
don't
well,
listen to him.
okay. Look, who are you going to listen to, me or her?
No.
I'm going to listen to both of you equally because 2019.
So what will you tell them then? I mean, all right. So my advice is clearly take a step back, say, look, I'm not dealing with this. That's what I would do. AlliMac, what do you say?
Don't listen to him. Listen to me. I think that in a marriage, even prior to you getting married, there's going to be times where you have to step up,
Mhm.
and she's going to have to take a back seat, and there's going to be times where she's going to step up, and you're going to have to take a back
Right.
seat. But I think that with this happening, when I was planning my wedding, there are certain things that I could handle,
Mhm.
and my husband said, "You got this, babe." And then there's certain things that I was just like, I'm about to explode, and my husband just took over. So I think that in life, and this is preparing you for marriage. So,
Right.
Mr. Clark, no.
Well,
Bad
here's the
advice.
funny thing about all this wedding planning is that my girlfriend, or now fiance, has literally, growing up, never thought about her wedding
Mhm.
at all. Zero.
Aw.
I've at least thought about it at some random point late night, just I might just get married soon, and that's about it.
Right.
So it's a rare occasion that the man has thought about more about his wedding than the fiance.
Yeah, but also, what's the rush? I mean, what having a little ring and a piece of paper? I mean, is it really that big of a deal? I don't know. I just don't see the rush. I don't see the whole point. And you guys work hard. You work a lot. To spend a ton of dough on some party.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of creeps me out. I feel like I'd rather see you guys go to have a great
Vegas.
vacation.
He wants me to go to Waffle House,
I know,
apparently.
I mean, I
Weird.
might have gone overboard with that
It's
a little
just,
bit.
yeah.
I might have just been, that might have been radio talk.
I wanted to make a joke, but it's like, there could be advertisers out there.
Yeah.
You know that chart house? The chart house has a little location
Oh, it's so
outside
good.
by the river. That's a really nice.
In Melbourne?
It really is.
Hey,
Yes,
did you
it
guys
is.
hear? You were
Beautiful.
telling me yesterday on the show that Melbourne was voted like best beach or something.
Yeah, one of the best
Mhm.
beaches.
Did you know that?
We've moved up. We used to be like the #2 drinking city in America,
All right.
and now we are like one of the best beaches. So we're moving on up.
It is pretty. Even though
When you
it's a
think,
small
when
beach.
you think in your head, worldwide, most beautiful beaches, does Melbourne really pop in your head? I mean, do you really go right to Melbourne? Because I don't. Maybe
No,
Melbourne,
no.
Australia, but I mean, Melbourne, Florida doesn't come to mind immediately. I'm sorry.
No, that's a justified statement.
Okay.
Like, you're not wrong.
Okay.
Like, nobody's heard of Melbourne except for Melbourne people.
Are they
Exactly.
really nice beaches there or no? Because I don't think I've been to the beach over there. I don't know. Are they nice or I mean,
I
it
think
looks
it's
like
just
Daytona
a
Beach,
lot
just a
of-
little further south, right?
Oh, I don't like Daytona Beach only because
Right.
it's just. I mean,
That was the point of my story.
I think Melbourne is nice only because it's just it's a small, quaint city.
Yes.
It's a small, quaint city. So
Mhm.
the beach itself, the sand isn't, like powder white or anything like that. But it's just, you can go swimming out there. You can paddleboard out there. There's a really nice downtown area where you can go, to eat, to drink, there's a nightlife too. So, but it's more like compact.
Mm.
And if you like that kind of lifestyle, and I think that's what makes it kind of like a desirable place for a beach.
However, the problem now is because Melbourne Beach has been named one of the best beaches, everyone's going to go to that, and it's not going to be as small and quaint anymore.
I lost all respect for Melbourne about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and I started reading about they call and advertise the airport in Melbourne as Melbourne Orlando International Airport. And I'm like,
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I do. They're trying to confuse people and make people fly into the airport by saying it's Orlando. So they're trying to get people from, Europe, England,
Yeah.
to say, oh, wow, obviously this is really right next to Walt Disney World because it says Orlando, but it's really not. I mean, Melbourne's a good hour and a half from Orlando International Airport?
Yeah, it's about an hour.
So that's when I lost respect for, both of you.
Okay.
Wait, you had respect for me?
Yeah, I did at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
And then we started talking about all this wedding planning you're doing and being the fact
And
that
then Melbourne just.
you come from a
solidified
city
it.
that is so disingenuous with their airport name.
Love you, Melbourne.
I know.
I'm just kidding. 321-282-1055. We do wish you a happy engagement, Chase. And if you need any help with the wedding planning, call AlliMac at
407-242-2626.
That's a great plug.
go to our website. If you have any questions, www.youhavepower.com. It's youhavepower.com. IRS season is here.
Oh, yes.
IRS is a very, very scary organization. A lot of people who have been self-employed for many years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. See, IRS problems really come up for people who are self-employed. IRS problems are not normally for the person who gets a W-2 because when you get the W-2, your employer is actually taking that money out every 2 weeks, AlliMac. So at the end of the year, you're actually happy because it's tax season because most of the time you're going to actually get money back.
Mm-hmm.
It's those of us that are self-employed or 1099 people who almost every year we get nervous. And our
nervous.
tax season's not April 15th. Our tax season is October 15th because we always will file that extension because we are going to owe money. How do I prevent owing money every year as a self-employed person to the IRS? We will answer that question and many more right on the other side of this break. It's Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando.
That was a fun thing.
Yeah.
I was about to make the joke because I've always made the joke because we have an age gap.
Yeah.
It's about 7 years. We met in kindergarten. I was her teacher.
Oh gosh, I'm glad you didn't say that.
I was like, God.
Yeah. We'd have to go edit a bit longer.
Now we need extra time on the next segment. 'Cause I gotta cut that out.
Yeah. Give me 12 minutes, not 10.
Yeah.
We're going to cut the creepy Chase part out.
Not good for too long.
Cool.
I don't think I said too many things incriminating, right?
No, you were good. You were
Okay.
good.
Just to go back to your mark for a second. I think the mic's in your face on the wide shot. If you can keep it like that.
Here?
Yeah, that's good. All right, let's roll. Whenever ready.
Excuse me.
All right, final segment. All right. Here we go.
Last segment for radio.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome back to the show. One final segment ahead of Behind the Wall, ESPN 580 Orlando. My name is Justin Clark. I have AlliMac to my left. Hello, AlliMac. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
The newly engaged Chase is here as well. Chase, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Still alive.
So we were talking about IRS problems before, and maybe this is one of the most difficult financial situations you could ever go through in life, because not only is this someone threatening to sue you or someone sending you nasty letters that you owe them money, this is the government coming after you. This is scary stuff. And a lot of people, when they first come into my office and say, Justin, I'm getting a letter from the IRS, I don't know what to do, but the first question is, am I going to go to jail? Because it's the government saying you owe them money. Can you go to jail? And the quick answer is yes, you could potentially go to jail for owing money to the IRS, but it's very rare that they ever do that. And really, it has to be some sort of fraud. You have to really do something wrong for them to actually file a criminal action against you. But the IRS is way different than most debt collectors, and I'll tell you what. If you owe American Express, you go on a shopping spree at Macy's, like we talked about earlier, and you fall on hard times and you don't pay American Express, they got to sue you. They got to hire a process server to come knock on your door, and you got 20 days to respond. It takes 3-4 years to really, for them to actually get a judgment against you. With the IRS, all they have to do is send you a letter, and the next thing that you know, they're in your Wells Fargo account taking your money out. They don't have to sue you. They don't sue you. Or they send a letter to your employer and say, oh, by the way, I'm going to keep 25% of his earnings as well. So the IRS does not have to sue you. They don't really have to give you these notices that you normally get, like with Wells Fargo suing you. So you have to be very careful. And this is the kind of debt that you want to get out in front of. You do not want to bury your head in the sand when it comes to IRS debt, because, again, all they have to do is send you a letter. And the next thing you know, you're going on your Wells Fargo app, and you don't have any money left in there. They came and took it all away. Now, this is a very disconcerting thing.
It is.
Think about you, AlliMac. You go to Winn-Dixie one night to buy dinner for the family. You're like,
Okay.
whatever. And you have to be judgmental. So you go to Publix, and you go through the line. You get the chicken. You get a couple side dishes, and it's a Thursday night, and you just are so happy that you're coming home to your family. We're going to have a nice, quiet night in, have dinner together, and then you go in line and you actually only buy a few things. So you're in the 10 items or less line, right? The express line, and a few people in front of you, and then a few people behind you as well. So you finally get to the register, and she, very nice lady cashier. She says, "Thank you for shopping at Publix. Anything else? Nope. Okay, it'll be $34.99. You pull out your Wells Fargo card. Sorry, there's some sort of issue with your card. It's not working. And there's not an issue with your card. There's not an issue with your card at all. In fact, you have no money in your account. You have no money in that account that is there to take care of your family because you owe money to the IRS. And instead of suing you, they literally just go into your bank account and take your money. And you have no money left. This is why I said this is a financial event that you need to get out in front of. When it comes to owing money to the IRS, please get out in front of it. 321-282-1055. YouHavePower.com. Now, the beautiful part about what I do when I work with the IRS is they're not so bad. They really are not so bad. I mean, when we work with them, and we work with the IRS agents all the time, most of them really want to strike some kind of deal with my clients. They really do. They want to get my clients back into the system and back to be good, regular, tax-paying citizens, The IRS is not so bad. Really, they're not. But if you ignore them and you pretend like it's not happening, they will be bad. And they will be terrible to you and really negatively affect your life. And let's not forget, if we're not getting out in front of these financial issues, the IRS issues, the penalties and the interest are insane. So if you owe $10,000 2 years ago, right? But you don't do anything about it. You're like, oh, wow, I got to go to work. I can't deal with this right now. And you ignore it. That $10,000 is going to turn into 20, and then 30, and then 40, and then 50. It goes up incredibly fast. You have no idea unless you've been through it. You wouldn't even believe me. It goes up so fast. But there are so many things that we can do about it. So generally speaking, there are 2 or 3 main things that we do when it comes to dealing with the IRS and fixing your IRS problems. Number 1, an offer and compromise. Fancy term, settlement. We try to settle the debt. So let's say you owe $100,000, AlliMac, and I hope you don't. If you owe $100,000 to the IRS, we go in and say, IRS, I know we owe you $100,000. You're never going to recover $100,000 from my client because he doesn't have $100,000. Who does? I mean, who has $100,000 just sitting around in their basement or in their account? Not very many people. So we can't just pay you $100,000, IRS, but we can do 10. We can do 8. Maybe we can do 20. It's a settlement. An offer and compromise is a fantastic way to settle your IRS debt without having to pay the entire amount. Now, this process takes some time, 9, 12 months to get through the entire offer and compromise process. But during that time, normally they're going to say, look, we're not going to come after you. We know
garnishing your wages.
No, that's
the one that stops it.
We do a stop and stay. IRS, if we're going to try to settle this for my client, you got to promise me that you're not going to try to come take their money during this process. And they will. It's called a stop and stay. So the IRS will say, all right, while we're working on it, we promise not to garnish your client's wages or go into their bank account and take their money because we're going to try to work something out. We're going to try to resolve it with you. And as you can probably imagine, it takes some time because, well, it's the government, It's a very bureaucratic deal, and they just take a long time to review them. But it's a great way to settle your IRS debt and get this monkey off your back, so to speak, without having to pay the full amount and without having to be stressed all the time that they're going to come steal your money. Another option is an installment agreement. So let's say you come in, you owe $100,000, right? Well, I don't have $100,000. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do because I can't pay you $100,000. But maybe I could pay you a small amount of money every month over time. Installment agreement. And then when we do this installment agreement, we will almost always get them to agree to a penalty abatement. And what a penalty abatement is like I told you, you owe $10,000. 3 years later, it's $40,000 because of interest, penalties, that sort of thing. So we say, IRS, look, we want to pay this off. We can't do it all at once. We're going to pay you over time, but can you please get rid of the penalties that have been added on to my client's debt? A penalty abatement. And if you haven't ever had one before, they will almost always agree to that. So instead of owing $100,000 now, once we get rid of all those penalties, maybe it's only 70 or 60. And then they will agree to let us pay that at a small amount of money per month over time. Something manageable, right? Something manageable. Now also, and people ask me all the time, Justin, I know that filing bankruptcy cannot help with my IRS issue, and that's just not true. Bankruptcy absolutely, listen to me, bankruptcy can wipe away IRS debt. People don't know that. I mean, did you know that before you met me?
No, I didn't.
So any IRS debt that's more than 3 years old, and think about it in terms of this, it has to be more than 3 years old since you filed the returns. Any IRS debt that's more than 3 years old is eligible to be completely and totally wiped out by filing bankruptcy. So if you have a lot of other debt too, and then the IRS says you owe them $100,000 from 10 years ago, we really need to have this talk about whether bankruptcy is the right way to go. Because many times it is. You can wipe out all this other debt and get rid of the government at the same time. Like that.
So what is the process if I were to call you and say I do have debt? So what, once I get in to see you, what do I have to bring? What is it that is required for me for you to start?
I mean, we can pretty much pull everything up online. You don't really have to bring anything other than an open mind. Bring yourself an open mind and $0 because it's a free consultation. And I've done this 20,000 times now for people. So I will know almost immediately what I think is the best way to solve your financial problems. 321-282-1055. Plenty more information is on the website. youhavepower.com. Thank you for spending your weeknights and evenings, weekends here with us as well. For AlliMac and the whole crew, I'm Justin Clark. We'll see you right back here next time on ESPN 580 Orlando.
All right. 2 more segments. We got 17 minutes. We can do a 10 and a 7. Go ahead and cut.
Andy.
And then Chase, can you just do the opens and close like you normally would?
What's that?
We can do the opens and close.
Yeah, okay.
Man, it's cold in here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where's my fingers?
I'm actually not cold at all.
I feel good. 'Cause normally I'm the one that
I'm
gets
going to grab
cold.
just a little water. I'll be right back.
That's not good.
So I kept trying to go like, because the mic is too.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I lifted it, then it
Feels,
would have.
yeah, we won't see you.
I was
You
like-
block your face.
I'm just not like this. What was everybody up to this weekend? Anything fun?
Newborn stuff. Yeah, newborn at home.
You do?
She was born on right before Christmas, on the 23rd of December. So
Aww.
spending time with her.
Oh, that's cute.
Whatever.
I have a new neighbor moving in, and she's really hot. So I'm helping her.
Oh, okay.
Sorry?
So I got a new neighbor moving in.
What
She's
they're doing
cute, so
this
I'm helping move. That's gonna be my weekend.
It's like she's really cute, hot.
If it was a dude, would you be helping him?
Nah.
All right, guys, let's roll camera.
So what are we talking about now? What, I'm
You
sorry.
need-
So we're
So we
doing
got
just
17
TV.
seconds for TV. So
Okay.
we can do a 10-minute chunk and then a 7-minute chunk.
Okay.
Do you need me to record any of this?
I can record, just do the opens and close for me.
Okay, yeah, I can just play that.
So yeah, whatever you want to talk about.
Okay.
Because this has been
What do you
this is
wanna
kind of
talk about?
seizing up,
I
so
know. It's 2 little segments.
All right, let's do a 10-minute.
10-minute first and 7 seconds. 7 to 10 minutes.
do you need me to keep time or you got
I
that?
got time.
Okay.
All right, guys, stand by. Roll cameras on both. Here we go, Chase. In 3, 2, 1.
Why is it not? Okay, let's do this one.
Stand by. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Why is my audio? Well, let me restart my audio player. Is everything just seized up? Sorry about that. My audio player is just seizing up.
We can do it that one.
Okay.
Yeah. We can do it that
Cool.
Yeah, because I still have the ones you sent me.
All right, so stand by, guys.
All right.
And here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
You ready for me?
Do it again. Do
All
it
right, no
again.
worries.
Oh, yeah.
Stand by. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the show. It's another edition of Behind the Law right here on ESPN 580 Orlando. If you have student loan issues, this show is for you, and you need to stick around because, first of all, if you were to go have an auto accident, there are a dime a dozen lawyers out there. Everyone does PI work. AlliMac, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
there's so many personal injury lawyers out there, and some very good ones. I'm not criticizing them by any means. I'm just saying there are tons of lawyers out there who do personal injury. We see their commercials all the time. If you have student loan issues, there's almost no lawyers who know how to deal with it, and this is a major problem in this country. Huge problem.
It is.
And we are one of the only firms that I know of who really can help you with your student loan issues. And if you have questions about student loans, call us now, 321-282-1055. Or go to the website where we have plenty of information there as well, youhavepower.com. So, AlliMac, we talk about IRS together all the time, and I tell you, IRS doesn't have to sue you. American Express, they have to sue you, right? It takes them a while to really get a judgment against you. the IRS does not have to sue you. Student loans, you want to guess? Same. The student loans have almost more power than the federal government.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All they have to do is send, and they will. All they have to do is send a letter to your employer, and next thing you know, you're losing 25% of your net revenue every 2 weeks. This is a big hit.
Oh, it's a very
This is a big hit for a family. Or they're going into your bank account and taking your money, just like if you owed money to the IRS. Or they can also take away your Social Security. So I have clients all the time who come in who are retired, and they're living on their $1,600 a month in Social Security. Guess what? You're not getting $1,600 anymore. You're getting $800 because the government just took the money from your Social Security paycheck to pay off your old student loan debts. And mark my words, as we sit here today, not a lot of people are talking about this yet. Not a lot of even politicians are talking about the student loan dilemma that we have in this country. But as we go forward, as I continue to spend my Sundays here with you on TV 27, you're going to start noticing. You're going to start seeing articles in the paper about what a problem student loan debt really is. Now, do I have the right answer? I don't. Because, yeah, we can't just say, okay, well, we're going to wipe out everyone's student loan debt. You don't owe any money because, yeah, that's a real loan. I get it. I'm not saying that we should all get away with it. But what I'm telling you is, it's not the people who went to Brown or Harvard or even Florida State. These are not the people who have student loan issues, generally speaking, although I do see some of that. It's generally the people that went to BS University Online 1 or terrible University Online from Savannah 2. It's people who went to these colleges thinking they wanted to better themselves, and they had this huge marketing campaign to go to these for-profit institutes. And the school would promise you that, oh, you're going to get a great job when you get out. We're guaranteed to make $80,000 as soon as you get out. And that's just, it just wasn't true. It was not true. This really started happening during the financial collapse. So what most people don't understand is during the financial collapse, which began in 2008, for-profit schools were making a killing because people couldn't find a job. So you know what they would do? These for-profit schools would go to Monster.com and advertise. They would spend millions and billions of dollars advertising to people looking for a job on Monster.com to go to their school. And they're like, hey, don't worry, we're going to get you tons of student loan debt, and you're going to actually make money. You're going to walk away after paying the tuition. You're going to actually have money in your account, and we're going to promise you a great job. So it was a really disgusting thing that they did. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I being clear? So they would go try to find people who are looking for work, knowing they couldn't find a job, and say, oh, well, if you can't find a job, you might as well better yourself by going to our terrible school.
Wow, I can't imagine.
At the cost of $100,000 a semester or whatever. I mean, it was asinine what people were paying to go to these horrible schools. And you know what? The funny part about it is all these salespeople for these for-profit schools were just that. They were salespeople. But they were all mortgage brokers who got laid off because no one was getting mortgages anymore because of the financial collapse. So everyone who's a mortgage broker was like, well, I'm down on my luck. I can't find a job. Like, well, come work for us, the for-profit school. And we have a great sales pitch because it doesn't cost you anything out of pocket. All you got to do is take out a ton of student loans, pay us $100,000 a year. You can't find a job anyway. You might as well come learn some stuff. That's what they were saying. And then once you got done with this terrible school, if it survived, most of them shut down halfway through anyway. And then they're like, well, who are like when you go to a college, you think that these professors actually know something. These schools were paying their professors like $4 an hour. I mean, these were not people who should be teaching us how to learn a trade, These were terrible professors because these business owners, the owners of the for-profit schools, were out there just to try to make a ton of money. That's what they were doing. And then they fed off and really preyed on those of us that were going through a tough financial time. But now it's all come full circle. We're 10 years down, we're a decade down the road now. And the people who are suffering and paying for it are those of us that have a student loan debt. Right. Student loan debt that's not going to go away. Student loan debt that we can't wipe out in bankruptcy. And the federal government, if you're listening to me right now, politicians, I have a ton of friends in politics, but you guys aren't even coming to me and saying, Justin, like, what can we do? How can we help? But it's going to happen soon because I'm not going to shut up about it until we do something about the student. Listen to me. The student loan debt crisis is here, but no one's talking about it. I mean, do you really hear many people talking about it or no?
Just you.
It's just me.
You.
I see people in my office every day, 5, 6 families a day come into my office, and their lives are being very negatively impacted because of decisions that they made to go to this terrible, I don't even want to call it a college. What can I call it? School? Rip-off? I mean, I don't know, but it's not a college. A college is like FSU or the University of Tennessee. The Carpet School of America, that's not a college, is it? You're not a college. You're a rip-off institute is what you are. And you rip my clients off, and I'm mad at you, and you probably don't even exist anymore. There are so many of these colleges who don't exist anymore, yet we here on the ground are still having to pay $500, $700, $800 a month for the student loans, really for nothing. Really for going to waste my time. And that's what it was. It was a waste of time for a lot of people. Going to these rip-off institute number 1 or rip-off institute number 2. Yet we're still saddled with all the debt.
It's horrible.
And unlike IRS debt, because I told you in an earlier segment that IRS debt that's more than 3 years old, I can wipe out by filing bankruptcy, right? Boom, gone. Student loan debt? No. You essentially have to have like no arms or no legs to be able to wipe out your student loan debt in bankruptcy. You have to be like fully, completely, and totally disabled to even have a shot at wiping out the student loan debt.
Well, that's why they need to contact your office so you can help them give some more information on that because apparently a lot of people don't know about this yet.
Here's what we need to do as a country. Now, this isn't going to help all the people who already have student loan debt. If you need to talk about that, call me, 321-282-1055. But as a society, we need to get back to understanding that just telling our children and our young people that, well, you got to get a college education to get anywhere in life is not an accurate statement anymore. It's not. I'll tell you what is an accurate statement. You tell your kids and your children,